This is WFYI News Now. It's January 14th, and I'm Abriana Herron. On today's show, Braun was sworn in as Indiana's 52nd governor, along with Micah Beckwith as lieutenant governor and Todd Rokita as attorney general. And how artificial intelligence is being used in the classroom, the challenges it poses, and the opportunities that lie ahead.
What I hope to see is that AI will alleviate the burden on teachers and allow them to teach more instead of focusing on all the other aspects.
Those stories coming up. But first, immigrants and refugees in Indianapolis grapple with the uncertainty of how the incoming Trump administration could impact their future. WFYI's Samantha Horton reports a community event Sunday afternoon aimed to provide residents with information and help relieve panic.
President-elect Donald Trump has promised what he is calling the largest deportation program in American history. But it's not clear what action will be taken. The offices of the Indianapolis mayor and U.S. Representative Andre Carson teamed up to provide residents with information on ways to be prepared. Catherine Suchet Downey with Carson's office says a wide range of issues were discussed, including banking, home ownership, and legal rights.
We were thinking, well, we need to respond to this, and before the inauguration, just to help folks understand what their rights are and how to navigate what changes may come, although we don't know what they are.
Suchet Downey says it will be looking to host more informational sessions in the future. I'm Samantha Horton.
Mike Braun says as governor, he wants to empower the next generation and pursue freedom and opportunity without fear. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Brandon Smith reports Braun was sworn in Monday as Indiana's 52nd governor.
In his inaugural address, Braun noted the transition not just in state government, but at the federal level, one he says that should result in states like Indiana taking a bigger leadership role.
Built on the shoulders of the fearless, hardworking Hoosiers, small business owners, talented entrepreneurs, persevering leaders who laid the foundation upon which we will build.
Braun says Indiana is at a crossroads as it enters the next 4 years.
We can be the risk takers and trailblazers Hoosiers deserve in leadership, or maintain the status quo.
Braun specifically cited his desire to push health care, property tax, and education reform. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Brandon Smith at the State House.
And Micah Beckwith took the oath of office Monday to become Indiana's lieutenant governor, while Todd Rokita officially began his second term as attorney general. In his inaugural speech, Beckwith, a self-proclaimed Christian nationalist, said he wants to foster unity and collaboration and pledged to be a voice for rural Indiana.
To continue advancing policies that strengthen our economy, protect our values, and support every Hoosier in realizing their full God-given potential.
After being sworn in for a second term, Rokita says his next 4 years as Attorney General should look like his last 4. He voiced attacks against diversity, equity, and inclusion, the transgender community, vaccines, and political correctness.
I think everyone knows, whether you agree with me or not, you must agree I'm not that wishy-washy.
Rokita has served in various government roles for more than 2 decades. This is Beckwith's first time in elected office. And for our final story today, it's been more than 2 years since ChatGPT was released to the public. Since then, tens of millions of Americans use it weekly. Other large language model AI chatbots like Gemini have also emerged, and students and educators have begun using this technology, for better or for worse. But it's still unclear how artificial intelligence will shape education moving forward. WFYI's Lee Gaines spoke with Bill Watson, a professor at Purdue University's College of Education, about how AI is being used in the classroom, the challenges it poses, and the opportunities that lie ahead.
In preparation for this interview, I actually turned to a large language model and I asked it to give me a summary of how preschool through 12th grade educators are integrating artificial intelligence into the classroom. And I want to get your reaction.
Okay, sounds good.
So it said personalized learning. There's also intelligent tutoring systems, so AI AI-powered tutors providing real-time feedback and support. And then there's administrative support. So AI automating tasks like grading and attendance taking, and then language translation. And some schools have introduced AI literacy programs to prepare students for future challenges and opportunities in a world that's full of AI. So what do you think about this summary that I got?
So I think it is summarizing well what people are saying we can be using AI for, but my experience has largely been that it's more limited than that in actual practice.
Yeah, tell me what the real world application of AI in learning has been so far.
So I think by and large, when it is being implemented, it's often happening with individual teachers. Even here at Purdue, the approach has largely been individual instructors can do what they want, but we are not doing a university-wide policy on how AI is or isn't being used. So I think that's largely been the case at schools as well. And I think you have individual teachers who think they have to fight against AI and students using AI. And then you have other teachers who are early adopters and are trying to leverage it. And that's kind of where we are, is by and large it being done at an individual level rather than a kind of more systematic approach to how it can be leveraged.
So I want to talk about some of the challenges since ChatGPT came on the scene, concerns about cheating, plagiarism, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's a very real concern. My pushback on that is that the genie is out of the bottle. We cannot get rid of this technology, which is easily available to everyone. So just as an example, there are a lot of companies that are racing to try to come out with technologies to identify when written language has been produced by AI rather than humans, and they are trying to get better. But for example, right now, it's very problematic, and they particularly tend to flag non-native English speakers. And so they're getting flagged for using AI even when they're not using it. So there's a lot of ethical concerns. In my mind, AI literacy is hugely important for all. And some of the things that we need to focus on is what sort of assessments are we doing. So if you're focusing on assignments that the AI is very good at, maybe those aren't the learning outcomes we should most be paying attention to for our students in this day and age where they will have AI all around them the rest of their lives. It's not going away. So it's a matter of understanding how to use it effectively and focusing on assignments that are really highlighting what humans bring to the table and what humans do well.
How do you think AI is going to change the educational landscape?
What I hope to see is that AI will alleviate the burden on teachers and allow them to teach more instead of focusing on all the other aspects. Most people in their lives have a teacher that they remember as being so impactful to them. And that's not always just within the learning space. That can be as a human being and gaining confidence and generating curiosity. And so that need will never go away, and we can't dehumanize the process of learning because learning shapes everything about us. And so my hope is that rather than replacing teachers, we're freeing teachers to focus on the most important aspects of their work, which is that human connection around learning.
That was WFYI's Lee Gaines speaking with Purdue University professor Bill Watson. You can read a longer version of that story at wfyi.org/news. That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by Drew Daudelin and Zach Bundy, with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music, and I'm your host, Abriana Herron. If you liked today's episode, remember to subscribe and share. And follow WFYI on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.